Welcome to Modern Mythology, a podcast that explores the many intersections of story and system. For more information about this episode, articles, or links to our other related projects, visit modernmythology.net.
All right, so I am very excited to be playing Prodigal. Let's just get a sense of who our characters are. And you're playing two elves, right? And Sean, who's your character?
Aha! All right. My character is a more, much longer title to come later.
Very long title.
Yes, we are Prince of the House Avendor, an elven kingdom. I was born an Etharch, so of royal blood, and went along the path of sword slinger, starting off as a second with a master sword slinger who is now
Singer, right?
Sword singer. Yes, sorry. Yeah.
And it's also important to understand that you went from second to the protector life paths. So you actually joined the military,
Right.
and became a sword singer in the military, not as part of like the royal.
Yeah, a more aspires to be leaders of men, but the current captain of the Sword of the White Tower was my master and trainer. So I'm back under one of the swordsmen.
So now, keep in mind, I see it as two different groups. I see the sword singer of the court and the sword singer of the military becomes very different, right? I see you as being in a conflict, Who is your master, right? Your tutor, both of your tutors.
Yeah.
Which one did they hail from? Were they military? Did he get you to join the military? Or were they courtly sword singers, like defenders of the citadel? More like the man-at-arms, like the...
Yeah, I think they were more the elite group.
The elite group.
Yeah.
So was he disappointed when you went into the military and joined the lowly protectorate sword singers?
I think there was some distancing that was happening there, just to in recognition of Amor didn't want to live under anybody's shadow, in a sense that in an elven world. We talked about how you're going to be under his shadow for all of eternity. If you remain in that guard. So he left to sort of carve his own reputation.
And what's your last life path?
Is Prince.
So you went back to the court. What brought you back to the court?
Well, again, ultimately, this is the idea of seeking the recognition and ascendancy of being a leader of, I'm going to say a leader of men, a leader of elves, in protecting the kingdom and the house. So he's sort of just really positioning himself best for that. Again, Prince in an elven world has no delusions of any time this century or century in the future of waiting for your father to pass away, because if all things happen according to plan, he will never pass away.
I was here, Kendall, 3,000 years ago. Still like
Awesome. All right. And Jamie, who's your character?
I'm playing Fionway, his brother or sister or
Sibling,
yes.
Okay.
So I guess, so we started out in similar packs. That we're both born Etharch, obviously. I also became second and really wanted to become a sword singer myself. But then
life happens.
Yeah, life happens. I kind of eloped into the woods a little bit, maybe met someone, perhaps a hunter, perhaps a human, and had a child, and that kind of put me on the outs with them after that. And it took a number of years, kind of, because at first I was just kind of you were being kind of brought up, and I was kind of staying in the same place, and I wasn't being offered any sort of promotion. I wasn't being trained as much. And then there was a schism. I became a griever.
Did we say you started grieving because of your child's death?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened to your child? Not to be too triggery. I'm triggering here in case.
Yeah, I hadn't planned anything.
I think we came up with a couple ideas, like the child died in the Manish lands, or they, the elves took the child.
But under suspicion.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't even know if my child died. They took a child away to the human lands, and that would be another reason why I would leave.
That's
because
great.
I
To find
my child, and I didn't find them. But that's why I left.
If we only did 2 beliefs, and I get the idea that maybe your third belief could be a long-term belief of I will find my child.
Yeah, definitely. There's a long-term campaign.
Good. That's good. Awesome. And then you became a griever.
Mm-hmm.
You wandered the Manish lands. We have sort of established that the elves' kingdom, Aislandor, is a sort of a dream realm. And so leaving the elvish kingdoms really changed,
Flow of time. It's like the fairylands or whatever.
Yeah, kind of idea. So a lot more time went on for your brother than went on for you.
Yeah. And then I became a deceiver after that, which is kind of just basically continuing that path of trying to survive in the human world, or in the worlds outside the elven lands. Anyways, not just humans. And a lot of that came down to being good at lying and being good at kind of just making do with whatever I had to do.
All right, cool. So what is your first belief? Why are you returning to the elven lands?
It's a mouthful, but so elfendom is a lie that cuts them off from the world. My brother is lost to their lies, but nevertheless, I must gain the support of sword singers to oppose the Mad Wizard King Valcor, who is threatening the lands outside, and the elves have kind of been shrugged their shoulders and said, "So what?" But
right. And did you have a limitation to that?
I don't know if but I won't be drawn back into their world.
Gotcha.
That's right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm trying to avoid, because I'm coming back, but I'm trying to not come back. For good.
Stay.
Right.
Right. Especially
if you were to obey the rules, you would be expected to stay.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you're coming into the Elven Land, and I will tell you that ostensibly there is a large dilapidated gate that has not been opened in ages. It was designed to join as sort of to join the Elven and Dwarven kingdoms during it was meant to be a bridge between worlds, and comes out it's at the base of an enormous forest and a mountain. Right. And so depending upon the way you used to walk in would say, if you were going towards the forest, you would enter into the Elven kingdoms. If you went towards the mountains, it's a big arch, right? You would go into the Dwarven kingdoms. However, it's been shut down for centuries. So you actually had a little adventure trying to open it, trying to find ways and try and find people and magic and blah, blah, blah. And obviously you did, right? Obviously you went through this ordeal that allowed you to actually re-enter the Elven lands that had been closed off not only to you, but ostensibly everybody, right? This is just a ruin of an arch. You had to do stuff to get through it.
Is it feasible that the elven forests are enchanted in some way that you wouldn't have any other way to approach, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's not a physical location you could, whether it's on another plane or whether the case is.
Yeah.
That
kind of like a demi-plane.
That forest is not the elven forest, that you would be able to walk through willy-nilly. Mm-hmm. It's not like Canada.
Like Canada, you can't walk through willy-nilly.
All right. And what's your, that's your long-term goal.
My short-term goal is just to steal some fine elven mail, especially if they, turn me down. But even if they don't, perhaps I might want to steal something because I've been kept from all this finery. I mean, he's a prince and I'm been living in gullies and yeah.
What's your limitation? So what's the...
Oh, I don't think I put a limit on that. I know you're supposed to for the short one. What would be a good limitation for...
All right, you think about your...
Yeah, I'll think about that. I'm not sure.
All right. And then what is Amor's long-term belief?
So going back to, the ascendancy of being a prince, he wants to ascend to lead the swords of the White Tower. Essentially to be in that position of the leader of elves, but needs to do that with the deeds leading to more having a reputation that grants him that honor and distinction, because there's no other way there, in a lawful sense, and there's no way of getting rid of the captain and my previous master who's there, and the limitation is that I still need to adhere to the laws and the rules of what a Moor would call the earth, but essentially the elven rules of the world.
So that's your long term. Is to lead the swords, but do it so in a noble manner.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Through like great deeds and glory and shit. Right.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
What's your short term?
Defending the house and the kingdom itself. It's most immediate threat, or at least as far as the elves are concerned, their most immediate threat is Karskval, who are orc barbarians. So, I mean, the Moor would say any enemy is of the elves is his enemy, but this is sort of the one that the elves think is the most threatening. Little do they know. And he's going to do that. He's going to defend the house with courage and song. As a song singer, Moor's power in his sword comes with the song. So essentially, he's defending it with his song. But yeah, and that's the limitation, is not a drop of elven blood be spilt under his watch.
All right, so you're coming here to convince to get the sword singers to enter the fray, and as an aside, you want to steal your father's elven mail.
Or I mean, I said fine, but I guess my father's elven mail is probably pretty fine.
That's because it's a statement. You're not just doing it to be like, I need armor,
right?
It's a statement. And then your two are to become the leader of the sword singers, right? Mm-hmm. And your second one is to basically dispatch this Orcish tribe, the Krusbal, who have encroached upon elven lands, right?
Yes.
Which is a little disturbing in its own right. Like, how did
they get in here?
Yeah,
right.
How did orcs get here? Kind of idea. What are your two instincts?
Always have an escape plan. And never get lost in the woods at night. Just good advice.
Well, okay, where are you going with that instinct? What are you looking for in terms of that instinct?
Which never get lost in the woods at night?
Yeah, it's how is that an instinct? Because no one's going to be like, oh, let's go get lost, right?
Right, sure.
Why is that an instinct?
I don't know. I was thinking for like 10 minutes on it. I don't know.
Are you? When you say don't get lost, are you...
I was thinking that spent a lot of time like wandering around in the wild.
Well, the kingdom's surrounded by enchanted forests. We've already decided that. You had to, circumvent that in order to get to the kingdom. The orcs are finding some way to still attack the kingdom. Sure. But those are woods that, as you were growing up, are fairly familiar with. So, I mean,
does that mean you avoid unfamiliar
very particular woods? Yeah.
I guess my thought was that I spent all this time wandering in the human lands alone, and so I would have a lot of experience wandering like on unknown, forgotten paths. But
sure, that's not really what instincts do, though, right? An instinct is it's like an automatic action.
But don't you get those from your experience of like?
Yeah, but I guess.
I mean, if you're going from an enchanted woods, that's meant to like not be able to get through it.
Never get lost should not be meant to be like, I'm infallible in this.
Well, no, yeah.
Never get lost means I'm doing something that allows me to make my way. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
For a one shot, that doesn't matter as much. We understand that, my instinct says I never get lost. If that's a consequence, that's not going to be a consequence of travel because you got lost. Right. I can just say that, and that's fine.
Okay.
But I think it also says something about you being in the woods. Like you found your mate in the woods,
comfortable,
right? Presumably
right.
had
exactly.
and then you left the elven woods and kingdom to presumably wander the woods of the land,
awesome.
That kind of thing. So I think that makes sense.
And what's the name of the Mad King?
Valcor.
Valcor.
I was gonna say Falcor just to be funny, but I like it Valcor.
cool. All right, sounds good. And what are your two instincts?
So Moore's instinct is always to announce himself to friends and foes. So this is something that no one will get tired of at all. But his friends are really other elves, so if there's any other elves in his presence that he thinks do not know who he is, or that he's a prince, he will ensure that that they know.
Right.
And when he faces off against a foe, it will never be in surprise. It will be an honorable enunciation. You'll know who is going to. Whose eyes you'll be looking into as you meet your demise. And similarly, he never relinquishes or sheaths his sword.
He just carries that around.
Well, his sword has got a name. It's Brother Thamar, and he does not even have a sheath.
Right.
He's just a sword singer, so he is in harmony with his weapon. It vibrates in harmony with him and his voice. And so, in a very practical sense, maybe less practical in some sense.
Yeah.
But
especially
he's always
2 hands for something.
He's always holding. Yeah, if you need 2 hands for something, you're at a loss. Because he's not going to put it down. He's not going to drop his weapon in a stalemate. And he sleeps with his sword held closely to his chest.
That's awesome. Okay, fantastic. All right, we're just going to get into it. We hear the horns echoing through the citadel, and you know that these are the dulcet tones that infer visitors. Do you want to learn more about what was conveyed through that? Do you feel like your character knows that? Do you feel like you're picking up on anything? How do you want to approach it? Or do you just want to run to the gates and see what's going on?
The memory of elves is long, and the time that these things are announced are sort of few and far between. And some of them, are second nature. When it's an enemy. When it's another house, another friend. This intonation is something more specific and hasn't been heard in centuries.
Right. Sounds good.
So I may not have really the presence to recognize exactly what it means.
So you're just going to go?
I'm going to try and figure out what it means.
You are?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So go ahead and make a sword of lordship. This is definitely elven Etharch etiquette.
Well, and it's a song too, so that's good. So
you're
a song of lordship.
Right. So if you look at your sword of lordship, how many dice do you have?
That's 4 with will.
My special burning wheel dice.
Beautiful.
All right. So you have 4 now. One of the things you also have the etiquette skill, right?
Yeah.
How would you? I'm walking you guys through this right now, but by and large, you should role play in your description of what your character's doing. What does your character know of etiquette? Because then you can get an extra die from etiquette. It's called a fork. It's called a field of related knowledge.
Okay.
So you can actually bring in other appropriate skills. So with Sword of Lordship, you can bring in etiquette. How do you perceive your character bringing etiquette into this role?
The song of lordship is easy as it comes through the vibrations of the sword singer and the song itself, the alert. So, I think to some extent the sword has got a history to it. It vibrates and resonates, knows what it is. The fact that it's, the tones themselves
How is etiquette
have got that's what I'm saying. The tones themselves have got a purpose to it. So I really just have to stop and think about, okay, each individual note has a meaning in our world. Right. And I have to sort of relearn that, I get the feeling that my sword knows what it is, and it's vibrating with it, but clued into it.
Yeah, in the future it would be fun, not for this game, but in the future it would be fun if you actually took a relationship with your sword. would have been awesome.
I wrote it down under relationships.
Did you really?
Yeah, well, next to it, because I wasn't sure what it means.
Right.
Yeah.
You guy in a relationship, right? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Generally what we're looking for there is like, okay, Sword of Lordship is a magical song, and that is how elves communicate etiquette to one another on an elven level. But then just a base etiquette, what you wear, how you address people, how you walk.
Yeah.
That's sort of like what of that.
And I know I'm conflating the sword and the singing, but my sword also, I've got a sword of song. So the sword is resonating with the song, and I'm not.
And etiquette wise, that means something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
That's right.
So now you are starting with a Song of Lordship at 4, right?
Yep.
And then 1 for your fork die, right?
For the etiquette.
For etiquette.
Yeah.
Now, you have the ability to help in this case. Now, you are coming onto the scene. We know that it is because your brother is coming, right? Or your sibling is returning. And we know a lot of things about these because it's your presence, right? You have an ability to help or hinder. Are you coming in? You could hinder by using stealthy or inconspicuous. You could help by using something like conspicuous or etiquette yourself that maybe you're addressing.
You answered.
Yeah. I think
you could sing out loud.
I'm still riding on an elven steed that I took with me. I think I'm going to call out, basically, I am here specifically to talk to my brother. So I'm going to make the announcement that I'm,
So you can help with etiquette because you're clarifying the message for them.
Yeah.
So what you do is you hand Sean one of your dice. Now, Sean, this is an important part. It's why I'm slowing down to go through this. You decide to accept this or not. The reason this matters is because you're rolling the dice, and rolling the dice and burning wheel matters. If you failure is not, I don't know. Failure has consequences. And by having consequences, you're going to share in the consequences by giving and offering a die. Also, I want to point out your Song of Lordship is at 4. Mm-hmm. Right? Right now, you have added 1 die to that, so your Sword of Lordship is at 5. And by adding another die, it's at 6. Now, 6 dice is a lot, and your obstacle for I think this is a really, nuanced thing that you're reading into, and it's, like you said, it's long, right? So I'm going to put this at a very high obstacle. I'm going to put this obstacle at a 5.
Yes.
The key here ends up being, by taking that die, you're changing this from a difficult test to a challenging test, from a challenging to a difficult. If it's more, then it's a challenging test, which are very hard to come by. If it's equal to, by and large, it's a difficult test, and then anything below is a routine test. And you need tests to increase the skill, right? Are you going to increase Song of Lordship in this? Maybe not.
Yeah, that's what the little dots are next to it.
Right, that's what those little dots are. So it's up to you whether or not you want to take the difficult. If you want to say, no, I'm not going to have my siblings help in this, right? And your announcement goes unheard, or you want to take the challenging test and be like, if I succeed, then this is exactly what this is, and you hear your brother's voice and so on and so forth. Does that make sense?
I mean, it does. I just don't see the downside yet. So
the downside is it's harder to get challenging tests. This is a low stakes. There's stakes, but this is a low stakes challenging test that you could get to increase, right? Because it's an organic development system.
Right.
Routine tests are easy to get. Right? Yeah. But they could be more challenging later on. They could be higher stakes later on. It's up to you whether or not you want a difficult test or a challenging test. to fill out the little dots.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see the harm in it.
All right, sure.
So,
sounds good. Okay.
Got it.
So you need 5 successes. You're rolling
6 dice.
You're rolling 6 dice.
And successes are
4, 5, and 6.
Oh. Let's see what happens.
Yep.
I have 5 successes.
Yeah, 5 successes. Hot.
I have 1, 2. I have
of sixes,
5, and I have 4 6s.
4 6s. Awesome. So you, in fact, you not only understand what they're conveying, which they're literally conveying something that has not been heard of, right? Which is the song of returning. Right. Mm-hmm. They are saying that your sibling is back, and you actually hear, what was your character's name? Fenway.
Yeah.
You announcing their lineage.
And that affirms my understanding of, wait a minute, the song that I've rarely ever heard of before is the Prodigal Prince Sibling. Yeah. My sibling has returned.
Yeah. Now, I add a few extra flourishes in here systematically. Often I'll give you different colored dice so that you could see whether or not the help was successful or not.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily part of the system, but it's like a fun way to differentiate that. But so that was your first roll, your first burning wheel roll. And how do you react to...
Do I get any additional benefits to that?
No, but you have 2 options.
Okay.
You could, because you used etiquette, I think technically you can't learn Song of Lordship, which is kind of funny. But because you helped with etiquette, you know, I broke the rules a little bit, but I'm saying because you helped with etiquette, that could be a challenging or difficult role for etiquette.
I get it.
Sorry. You took the help, so it's the middle row, not the bottom one. And no, it doesn't matter what that would have been for your etiquette. That would have been out of the park for your etiquettes too, right?
Yeah.
You take whatever he takes as that advancement. Mm-hmm. While you're thinking about how you're going to approach this, you should be thinking about what skills do you want to advance. Right? And they will help you in understanding how you want to approach certain things. Because you might want to couch this as a purely non-elven thing and just say, I want to use etiquette. Right? Or, like, you get to decide what you use. Right? And
that makes sense.
Not only are you then informing the narrative, you're also advancing your character in a very prescribed way. So how do you greet your sibling?
Well, first off, Amorsh is in a bit of shock. I mean, it has been a very, very long time, even in Elven terms, since
125 years
since I've seen Fenway,
which is only 38 for you.
Yeah, must have been closer to the black hole or something. So I would normally be, striding straight towards whatever this was. But at first, I think I'm going to take a pause and stop and think, okay, this is who I think it is. This may be upsetting to overcome because, he's broken a lot of the rules of our society just by, being here. He's really not even allowed to come striding back in.
How does this manifest? What's the audience see? What are you doing as you're... we understand you hesitate, you stop, you think.
I think I'm waiting for my sibling to come to me.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Are you gonna receive them in any particular place?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him that he's violating the laws.
Are you going to receive him in a particular place? Are you going to have them bring them to you somewhere specific? Or are you just going to stay right here?
I'm stay where I am.
Stay where you are.
Okay. I'm thinking that actually, probably the first thing you hear is arguing, because I think that I probably get into an argument with the people at the gate or a little in the gate where I'm trying to go to you. And
they want to bring you to the throne room or something to that effect. Sounds good.
And I'm like, bring them to me. I came here to speak to my brother.
I think so. I like that idea. I like the idea that that they're giving you a hard time, right? This could thwart both of your efforts. This may be a very different story if you went right to your brother and right to the heart of your beliefs, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get there. I'm just being...
You're trying to get there, and they want to take you to your father, right? What's your approach in your argument?
Like in a RP sense or in like a skill sense?
How are you describing what skill you're going to use in the narrative? If you use etiquette, you're like A, being polite, and B, explaining to them how it works. If you're trying to persuade them, then you're using honeyed words and right, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I have so few of those things. I have sing and etiquette are my two. It's kind of funny if I start doing an elven song and try to convince them.
Right. You totally can try to do that.
You may have to.
It might be a different op, right? But
yeah, I'm going to do that, but I'm kind of rusty. And that's kind of mimicked by the fact that I have it too. But I'm trying to make my point that I'm here to speak with my brother, and it's not their right to. I still am a noble, and it's my right to speak to my brother, not to be dragged to the throne room like some sort of prisoner,
Right. Awesome. So I think their response, and this is a form of expression, and it's still, while it's a little elven, it's still very grounded. It's still very, you're not used to communicating in this way quite as much.
It's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a while. I'm going to say the ob is 4.
Okay.
All right. Now you only have 2 dice.
Yep.
Right. Again, because even though you guys are on either side of the gate, there is an opportunity for you to help. You want them, right? How are you going to approach helping this outcome?
I imagine I'm standing on some sort of battlement or high place behind the gate.
No, I think you were in the courtyard. Like you were crossing a courtyard when you heard this, or
right, but the courtyard is elevated, looking down on the gate.
Oh, sure, sounds good. Maybe you were coming downstairs or something.
Yeah. At the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
So I just want to be higher than my sibling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
still the same.
In that sense, it's sufficient. But I will aid because I don't.
love the idea that you might turn around and go up at these steps. Yeah.
Just back up a couple. Are you taller than me? Probably. But I don't want the guards of the kingdom to to lay hand on my sibling. So I'm gonna give them a command.
Awesome. So you use command.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So go ahead. Again, I'm a little looser with helping. There are a little bit more strict rules for helping. I tend to not worry about them, especially for a one-shot. I think that's awesome. You're barking out orders, guiding you hand.
Right. I still might have a chance of succeeding because I'm up for.
Sure. But you're going to get a challenging etiquette test. Mm-hmm. So you get to fill out just starting off with a challenging etiquette test. Now, it's up to you.
Or so it's a song test, right?
Oh, a sing test, yes. Yeah. Yes. Now, it's up to you whether or not you accept that, right? You can hear your brother's voice, which you have not heard in hundreds of years.
Yeah, I'll accept it.
Okay.
And be like, see, he's even calling for me.
He's listen. Awesome.
Listen to your prince.
Fantastic. Got it roll.
All right. A 6, a 3, and a 2.
All right, now a 6, a 3, and a 2. So that's only one success. You need 4.
Yeah.
The chances of you even exploding the 6 is you fail, right? So what that means is, first off, that's a challenging skill for you. So that means you get a challenging command test.
Okay.
So
I did that.
You fill out a challenging, and you fill out a challenging sim test. Normally, I won't remind you of that. You really should keep track of being able to do that yourselves, just so you're aware. But because this is our first game, by the way, the chart for how this works is very complex.
It is.
And so I will help you
That's the
along.
part of, like I said, burning wheel.
But ultimately, it's routines are less, what do you call it? Difficulties are equal to, and challengings are more, right? It's generally high. There's a little variance in there, but not much. Okay. Now,
I think it's interesting that you take credit for it, even though it wasn't successful.
right, but it's because you helped.
right. Yeah.
It's because you helped. Yeah. All right, awesome. Now, you'll note I didn't allow you to use etiquette to fork in because etiquette's not a skill you can use for forks.
Okay.
Right? And I tend to try to be a little more strict about that because it can get like snowballs, and then people are doing the whole hunting and pecking in their skill list for like, well, can I use this? I'm not interested in that negotiation. It's very clear what you can use and not use. I happen to know them, so I'll let you know. Right? We're going to cut that scene, right? And you are kind of forced
To go to the gate.
to follow behind as you are brought
to the
through.
gate.
We're going to say you're brought through the wall. Right? That there's a door. You're not going to go through this big fancy gate. There's a door. You go through the door and leads you through the labyrinth that is the wall. They believe you because they believe you that you're another heir. Right? But, it's very possible. You don't know yet. Maybe one of the guards is maybe what he's really doing is bringing you to Sithrael, who is both of your old teachers.
Okay.
Before he goes to the father.
He looks back at you and then whisks your sibling away.
Okay, I'm going to follow along. I mean, I'm going to first off, when we lay eyes, directly, observing him coldly.
Yeah.
And when I address you, I'm going to, be a elvish condescending.
Awesome. How do you look different? What's different about you since your brother last saw you?
I would say, I look like slightly gaunt, but slightly gaunt for an elf is because they're skinny, but they're like healthy, I look a little
not healthy.
I look a little like, I'm not like Gollum or anything, but I definitely have taken some of the road into not just into my clothes, but into my body and my posture. But my eyes are if anything, more like present than before, but they're kind of now filled with not rage, but something seething underneath that you'd never seen before.
There you go. Awesome. All right. You enter, Amor rushes to the Great Hall. You can hear varying signals echoing through as the two of you are taking these alternate paths. Mm-hmm. How I run games should be noted. The first thing I want to note is that we have been playing together long enough that we understand safety tools and how each other plays. Just because we don't bring it up often, but I just want to bring up that we've had these conversations already in case you guys were wondering. The second thing I want to point out is that how I run games is that we are telling a collaborative story. I'm going to convey you the fiction. It's your job to push back if there's something you want to change. Sometimes I'm going to say, sure, it's that way, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to the story. It doesn't matter to your beliefs. Who cares, right? However, if it is something that is important, then I'll just have you roll for it and let the dice adjudicate whose truth, right? We're bringing into the story, right? What fiction is real? Right? That's particularly important for wise.
That's a good line. What fiction is real?
Yeah. If you have, if things don't exist until they ostensibly come to the table, right? Which is why I started off with some of those questions and like, what happened to your kid? How you're right. We're bringing that into the fiction. We're at the table, right? Now, wises are a very critical and interesting part of Burning Wheel because they're an ability for you to inform the fiction outright. You just state facts. I say how hard it is for those facts to be real. You roll to see if that they become real. I had a character at one point in time who was like a lore master and in no way could like compete with the other characters physically, right? But he had white perception and law-wise, which basically said he could basically just tell that people are illegal.
Right. So white is everything's a success.
White is everything a success on a 2 or better, right? You only fail on 1s.
Right.
So people have to be very careful getting into conflicts with this guy to be like, because your lineage is now illegal, and it's not that he himself is claiming that at that moment. He just knows that you did something in the past to have exiled your family. And he's just bringing it up in court, and everyone's like, oh crap,
Well, in our current situation, can I take that and run with it? Because I do like the idea here that we are, you are now back in the kingdom, and my shock is past me, but you're surrounded by guards, including some representatives from Swords of the White Tower, right? And I come to the realization that they're not going to take you to Father. By law, they have to take you to the captain.
They're going to take you to Sethrael. Yeah, that's awesome.
And I realized, wait, I don't want that to happen necessarily, right?
Right.
But I start walking along the path in parallel to you as we're walking up. I'm walking up the nice marble stairs.
Right.
You're taking the pathway.
You're getting whisked through
the degenerates.
Dark crevices.
And every once in a while.
That's great because the sword singer don't want anybody else to see you return.
Right. And every once in a while I kind of see you, through the cracks and the archways and things like that as we're going. And I'm devising in my head, like, this isn't going to go well if we get in front of the captain first. And fantastic. He's really going to come down, and my empathy now for my sibling starts to kick in, and I go, but wait a minute, I can preempt this. I'm one of the Etharchs, and I'm a prince.
Right.
So if I just, get to the doorway of the captain ahead of time,
you can be like, I'm taking him.
I can take him in my custody, and that's what I'm going to do.
So this is a race, right? It's important that you get to them before they get to Sithrael.
Yeah. Right. And it's funny because I'm not taking any of the back pathways. I'm taking the proper ways that I should be walking. So making it harder on myself just because I'm going to.
Awesome.
And Sithrael was our teacher, both of our instructors.
Both of you are instructors. All right. This is fantastic. Now you have a couple options. You can describe that you're hurrying along, or you can describe that you're using a different skill, because I think you have a skill that's appropriate in this, a wise, right?
Oh, the Elven Citadel.
You have an Elven Citadel wise.
Right. So you can know your way around.
So you could do this one of two ways. Wises are a very easy way to get helping dice. Wises can always help you, right, if they're appropriate. So you could do a speed check and say that your wise is helping you, and then it's just that you're literally just a foot race,
Yeah.
Or unless you also happen to have like some athletic sort of skill, which I don't think you do.
No.
Or you could just say, I don't want to increase speed. Your speed is really high. Your speed is a 6.
Yeah.
Now let me explain something. You don't need routine tests to advance stats. You only need difficult and challenging tests. Mm-hmm. So this is not going to be a test to increase speed. However, if you wanted to make this an Elven Citadel test-wise, you make it harder for yourself. It's going to be an Op 2. Mm-hmm. You're going to make it harder for yourself, but you're increasing a skill as compared where you're not able to actually increase your speed, right? So what we're doing here is that it's informing the story how you're going to approach this, how you're going to describe this. I know the ways to get there to cut them off, or I'm trucking.
Mm-hmm. I know the secret ways to get there.
Right.
So, as I'm walking, going, I'm taking the proper path. Wait a minute.
Well, it's actually kind of interesting because you could say that, like, as for Etharch Citadel wise, you make a statement and just say, by the way, the Citadel is designed so that the nobles have the clearest paths to anywhere in the Citadel.
Yeah.
There you go. If you're right, clearly you get there first.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you just make that statement by using a wise, and it conceivably increases your wise. Right? What is your wise at?
3.
It's at 3. So this is going to be a routine test. It's going to be an ob 2. So go ahead and now, you don't have that kind of wise. It's not a foot, but, I feel like you should be able to, you don't know this is happening, right? But meta-wise, you want to get to your brother. You see your brother.
There also might be a little bit of intuition, is like, we remember caught eyes, once or twice, and then you realize that, oh, wait a minute,
Do you have a means that you want to try to hinder them and help your brother?
I think they could just step on their toes.
I don't think I have time to do my Dark Elf song. Goth them all out.
What's your Dark Elf song?
I think that's the one that's the rhyme with the Unraveler, I think.
Oh, that's perfect. That's awesome. All right. So this is actually a slightly different thing. And this is great because basically what's happening is the camera's following the two of you and there's 2 different sets of music going on, right? You're singing this dirge while you're walking and shit's just like falling in front of them, people getting in the way, offering them things, but instead of helping, this is going to be what's called a link test. Okay. So you're going to roll at the same ob of 2.
Okay.
All right. Now you have sing. Sing is a fork for your song.
So it's 4 dice then. Cool.
So you have 4 dice?
Yeah.
And you only need 2.
I got 1 success. God damn it.
Did you get any 6s?
No.
No 6s. Okay.
Fine.
Things work pretty peachy for them. Your ob gets increased to 3. They become very nervous around you and not only start rushing, but start commanding people to get the fuck out of the way. We're the King's Guard, you know what I mean? And make a hole.
Has the opposite effect.
This is the opposite effect.
White Tower's coming through.
Go for it.
I still have 3.
Yep.
And still 2.
3 now.
3 difficulty.
Oh, it is.
Because of the failure.
They didn't like my goth song.
They don't like your goth song. That is an utter failure. Okay, fantastic.
I got a 4, but yeah.
I got a 4, but
you got 1 success. No 6s.
Yeah.
Awesome. So basically what happens is you are surprised to not be brought before the king. Mm-hmm. You get lost. Not lost, but like you forget that the reason things go in good directions is because you're not allowed to go certain places,
Right. And like I stopped.
You get to a wall and you're like, crap.
Well, not only that, but I'll get to a hallway and I'll be like, oh, that's for the servants. I can't go that way. I gotta go the prince way.
Right.
I gotta take the wider hallway, but it's the longer route.
You are faced with your old teacher. Mm-hmm. Cithriel was not a born Etharch. Cithriel was brought up from the Citadel, was a protector for the longest time, and is the kind of person who feels like they've worked themselves to their station and looks down on the people that got them here and does what he can to deny. However, you both look, I'm going to say, what color hair denotes that you are special even amongst the firstborn? Because you both have Feyre. What thing sets you apart from the other elves?
I mean, my first thought is that we're like albino, but I don't know what.
We could be silver. Let's be silver instead of white.
Yeah.
It's like,
but like
shimmering.
Like shimmering,
Yeah. He has jet black hair, right?
Yeah.
And he's still, amidst the nobility, amidst the citadel, and has
He
worked
grooves to the
hard.
Gothsong for a second.
Right. Works very hard to get where he's gone. And he often binds his hair into a tight ponytail and then adorns it in ways. He has a mithril coif, right, that he wears as sort of like, see, I have shiny hair too.
Right.
Yeah.
And my hair is just like loose and kind of a little straggly. Now,
Right. Oh, and like probably caked in mud.
Well, it's not quite that bad these days, but
I mean, you've been traveling.
yeah.
Awesome.
And something we both can agree is Cithriel's an ass.
He looks down upon you and says, why have you darkened our doorsteps?
I came to speak to my brother. I didn't come to speak to you.
You have to know that I'm the one all outsiders come through.
Unfortunately.
Give me what message you have for the Etharch and I will pass it on.
Those words are for his ears.
Do you want to convince him to let you go? How do you want to approach this? He's clearly not necessarily willing to let you.
Yeah. Like, fittingly, I have a lot of skills that are very well suited to, like, life on the road.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But not so much the circumstances.
Can you elbow somebody in the gut and make a room for it?
I want to point out that this is an opportunity for you to use the skills you want to use in terms of as he goes off, can you escape these guys? You know, like that's way more in line with what you're capable of doing. Or you go the social route, keep failing, right? Which is not a bad thing in Burning Wheel. You need failure to advance, to learn, right? So that's what you're sort of deciding.
Oh, is that why we're taking credit for the roles that we...
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Which means I also have to take credit for that.
Yeah. I am super stealthy. But I feel like it'd be hard to be stealthy with him, like, having his full attention on me. So perhaps I could start telling him a long tale of my travels that are not really the reason why I came here.
Okay.
You know, but I'm basically trying to like, lull him a little bit and distract him and look for an opportunity to escape.
Right. And you could just tell him something and he leaves and you wait and then just try to get away and get where you want to go. You know, which you want to, like, you're right. You're probably not going to. It would be much harder to escape while he's staring at you. But once he leaves, then they'll probably be like, put you in a room somewhere to give you an opportunity to escape. You know?
Yeah. So I kind of probably want to just kind of give him a story
Just give him a story
that tells him. I might even I'll say I've come back to return here to the Elven lands. I've seen the error of my ways.
Do you want to return the horse? Do you want to do you want to tell them that you're returning?
I'll tell them that I'm returning the horse.
Awesome. There you go. Be like,
I don't intend to.
well, it could conceivably, I see this as being a gift, right? I see that, yes, you stole it. And they might be willing to ignore the fact that you stole it if your brother's horse.
Right.
If it wasn't for the fact that you're saying, you know, this is my recompense. He totally accepts that, you know, tells them where to bring you. The three other guards, one sword singer and two front palace guards, bring you up a set of spiral stairs to an antechamber. You can see the outside is probably a couple stories up, right? But there's a couple windows you can see out of, and they close the door behind them.
Okay. Is the door locked?
It's not.
Oh, it's not.
No.
All right. Now I'm going to wait a little bit, you know, for them to leave, and then crack the door open just a tiny bit and see if anyone's like guarding outside the door.
Sure. Not right outside the door, but like down the hall. You see there are the two guards. The sword singer's gone. The two guards sort of like are clearly convincing. A elvish maid sort of like comes up to offer food and water as is customary, and clearly there's like a little thing going on between one of the guards and her, and like clearly it's the prince, you know, kind of idea, or it's the exile.
Yeah, I guess I'll try to use that opportunity to slip past.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds probably like a stealthy roll.
Yep.
Do you have anything to help you be stealthy, like inconspicuous?
Yes.
You have inconspicuous.
I do.
Wonderful. So that's an extra die.
Yeah, this is something I'm more good at.
Yeah. So this would generally be a opposed check. However, I am loath to roll dice, so I just set an ob based on their perception. I'm going to say that he is distracted by the woman. They have not been conveyed your importance, so I'm going to set the ob at 2.
Okay.
Or that you're a flight risk.
Okay, good. I got 3 successes.
3 successes. Awesome. How do you slip out and where do you go?
So yeah, I basically kind of go down the staircase and like wait for when they're laughing or like kind of the distraction it seems to be at its peak, and then slip across the way they could see me, and then try to hurry down towards. I know where. I still know the Citadel fairly well.
Citadel is never changing.
Right.
It is built for that purpose.
So
I built a new wing now. It's like a ballroom that I'm.
So I'm going to try to make a guess kind of where my brother would be right now. Whether it's like, I guess you have probably quarters or something like that. So
you want to go to his room?
Yeah, maybe I'll throw to his quarters. Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so you go to his room.
Okay.
Well, rooms.
Right. Your penthouse.
Yeah.
Understanding you don't know that, right? Actually, I'm going to say where you are, and if you change your mind, that's fine. But I think contemplating what Cithriel is going to do, you go to your father's quarters. You're standing outside your father's quarters. Cithriel will very likely bring the prisoner or whatever, right? Or to the throne room. You're not entirely certain, but you want to get to your father before Cithriel does. You're standing outside your father's door. What would you like to do? It's tall, peaked, very narrow, and it turns in such a way as to like almost become kind of a sheet. And that you can just pass through, and then it hardens again as a door. So it moves and rotates, but it does so in this way that makes it almost, you just don't interact with it.
Yeah. I'm going to have to let my sovereign know what's happening, and without being too deceptive. Try and convince him that I should handle it.
So, do you just walk in? Do you announce yourself? How do you approach this? What's your? I'm not looking for you to make a mistake. I'm looking to see what kind of relationship do you have with your father?
No, understood. He this is middle of the day. He's not in his, bed clothes or anything like that. There's other people from the court here. And again, this is a bedroom. This is his forward room where he just kind of lives. It's probably a map table somewhere. And, so there's probably a lot of members of the court. So I pass through the door. My father's there. He's talking, handling, mundane manners of the kingdom.
What is your father's obsessive hobby right now? What thing kind of dominates this that's a little out of the ordinary that he's really been very, very focused on?
When the military is focused on this orc barbarian threat, my father, the sovereign, doesn't seem to focus on that at all, at least from my perspective, probably Cithriel's perspective as well. It's just that he's not paying attention to that. Instead, he is trying to regain a relationship with the dwarves.
Oh,
which,
okay.
Because he's looking at trade opportunity for wealth and things like that. In my mind, his efforts are misplaced.
Are you trying to learn Dwarven?
Yeah, he's trying to learn Dwarven. Does he have I think he has a Dwarven tutor, an outside adventurer that he's found and hired to teach him. You also note that you walk in, there is this big table that is cleared of what would be indications of any sort of defense of the realm, right? Like,
Right.
Like there's probably a box with all that stuff in it.
He put a tablecloth over the map.
Right. There's books piled on it, kind of idea. And you see they're standing in front of this big picture window. It's sort of like a set of like elven French doors that has a little balcony. They're not on the balcony, but he's talking to this dwarven woman. Around the court and such. Her name.
I'm not worried about her. She's not friendly. So.
Right. Her name is Relema, and they're speaking to your ear. Your father is doing well, even though he feels like he's stumbling. She's not giving him anything. But you're like, wow, I can't tell the difference between them other than he sounds way better than she does because he's an elf.
Yeah.
But yeah, he turns around and looks at you, looks at Relema, says something in Dwarven, with a flourish towards.
It's a little annoying because I don't know what he said. But again, it's also annoying that he's even bothering with this. And obviously,
and she corrects him.
Really important.
She corrects him, even though what she says sounds exactly the same to you.
That annoys me even more because I don't have that.
He's like, oh, and he
He's very cordial.
And
like I would totally just be stared down if I even attempted to make even half of a correction along those lines. So I address him formally, Father. Sovereign Avendor. There's an important matter that needs to be attended to. Fenway has returned after a long time. And Cythriel is intervening, but this is a family matter, and I think I need to take care of it. I need to tell him the truth of the matter, that he lost his standing and he was banished, and his return is improper. And I'd like to, it should be me who tells him that. Of course, I would relinquish that to you if that's something that, you wanted to do, but I don't think it should be Cythriel, or anyone else besides family, members of the house.
You want to bring your sibling to you, not Cythriel, right? Or you just want...
I don't want to bring him to that. I want to address it.
He says...
I'm being intentionally a little bit vague because it makes it sound like I'm going to rebanish him. But I'm not saying that necessarily.
No, he softens a little, and he's just like, Amor, son, I'd like to see...
I saw Fenway. He's in no condition to have the gaze of the sovereign on him.
Awesome. Now, convincing your father would be almost impossible, right? So you have a couple choices. Do you want to approach this some way? Do you want to approach it in sort of an etiquette manner and not convince him, but be like, this is what's right?
I'm going to approach it law-wise.
You want to law-wise?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because again, he's violated the law. He's been banished.
Right.
It doesn't matter who that is. It's not appropriate for the sovereign.
He's no longer an elf. Only elves can come before the sovereign.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to be a link test to help set up, a possible etiquette test,
I just want to mention Fionway is currently lying on your bed in your nicest clothes.
You took a bath.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, go for it. No, that's fantastic. All right, so make a law-wise check. Quite honestly, I think that sounds appropriate. I normally would say I'm just going to give you a routine test. You don't have to roll. And be like,
oh, do I get a point for that?
Yeah, you mark the first routine as the first row, the first dot in the first row for law-wise. And he thinks about it and he says, of course you're right. That is law. But please consider bringing your sister back. to, the fold. Maybe, and names some elven lore master, very complicated name. Like maybe the lore master
Like a mystic, yeah.
find some way that she can return to the fold.
It'll be tough to hide my aggravation a little bit, about that, but I'm not one to argue. Of course,
Right.
Of course.
There is a tone, some chime that, quite honestly, like if a human was here or someone other than an elf, it would just sound like leaves in the wind. And you both know that means that somebody is ostensibly waiting for the Etharch in the receiving room for you to go to.
Oh, okay. For me to
Now he has
not Cythriel.
You both know what it is. He's like good luck. And he turns and continues. Mutters something under his breath in Dwarven, and the two of them titter.
Okay, I'm gonna head out and then use Elven Citadel wise to try and figure out where he's at now, or she's at, where Fanway's at.
Well, you don't know that Cythriel's not brought.
No, I don't know. I'm assuming that they're still in custody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody's in the receiving room right now.
Presumably Cythriel.
Right.
Okay.
And may have your brother or sister.
Okay.
May have your sibling.
Yeah. It's how things go at my house.
So you want to sort of ignore Cythriel and see what you can find.
Well, you're right. At first pass, I might think that Cythriel's standing out there with Fanway. So
Right.
I'm gonna go through that doorway to stop him because
Right.
I just went one up them.
Right.
So I'm kind of excited about that. Followed by disappointment when I see that he's by himself.
He's by himself. Right. Are you trying to be sneaky?
No.
Or no? You walk in and
I'm expecting to be like, Cythriel,
your
I'm taking
master.
care of this. I'm taking care of this. The sovereign just gave me the authority, but he's not there. So I'm like,
he looks at you and he says, my prince.
I'd say master, old habits.
Sure, yeah. He really appreciates that. And he says, your brethren has returned and wishes to re-enter Elven society and has returned Prodigal, your horse, has returned Prodigal.
Not even the same lineage
Elven
anymore.
steed, I'm gonna say it has magical fucking powers. Maybe it has like a magical bridle. That if that would be funny if you took off the magical bridle, it started like aging or whatever case. You're like, oh no, sorry.
They have stats for it in the book. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, but
so I guess my response is, where is he? What have you done with Fanway? I assume you treat him like
the dirt that he is.
you treated him like the outcast that he is. Yeah. Where'd you put him?
Secured them in the I think there's like a wing for
The honorary.
for like foreigners.
Okay.
Outsiders. Yeah.
And it's like is in the meditation chamber in the third spire.
I'm a little bit shocked at how upset that kind of makes me. Yeah, kind of the real. That's not right, but then like, okay, that is the appropriate thing. Okay. So I thank him, Cythriel, Master. The Sovereign has given me leave to deal with my sibling. So I'm going to go visit him. Take off from there.
In the room, you just find a very creepy handmade doll. I'm not there. I snuck out.
Oh, you mean
I left my place.
Yeah. So the two guards straighten up, as you approach and receive you, and you walk down a long hall. There's you'll notice, by the way, that these two places are stark difference. Like walking the glittering halls of the Citadel, this is coarse stone and wooden doors, so on and so forth, and you get to the door and it's this like crude metal latch. And you open the latch.
I open the latch with my sword.
With your sword. I use the hilt of the sword and like chink and push it open. And the room's
Stab
empty.
it open.
And the room's empty except for this weird, creepy straw sword.
Yeah.
Doll.
That is left there in my place.
What's Elvish for fuck?
Sure enough, you make your way back to your quarters. After probably dressing down.
Well, can I think about where he would go? I'd like to, again, probably don't need to roll for it, but I think now I'll go. Okay, what would my sibling?
What would my sibling do?
Probably roll around my bed and dirty.
No, I took your clean clothes.
Right. Well, that's surprising. Well, you still probably didn't bathe, but maybe you did.
Do you dress down the soldiers, or do you just walk past them? Close the door.
I just walk.
Close the door.
I can't walk that. There's no punishment that they deserve.
Sure enough. What are you doing when your brother gets there?
It's been a little while.
It's been a while.
So I'm probably actually like falling asleep in bed I'm wearing like soft clothes and lean back and open the door, kind of crack it out, and I open to see you enter. Yeah. Brother. I sit upright. Say, it took you long enough.
Like I kind of circle menacingly with a sword in my hand before I think all of the emotion kind of get the better of me of you having been gone for so long, and let the stoic hardness kind of.
I'm going to ask you to make a steel check. I think. Being face to face with the sibling you have not seen for 125 years is probably pretty jarring. I think actually longer. It's probably pretty jarring. And like you said, I think you have a lot of emotional content, so you're going to make a steel check. The odd for this steel check is I think it's a 4. I think it's pretty good. I think most weak people would really react. And it's a matter of whether or not you can keep shit down.
Both of us have pretty good steel, so.
Yes, especially being elves.
Yeah.
So go ahead and make a steel check.
My steel's 8.
Yeah.
So I'm rolling 8 dice.
8 dice?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, definitely.
You made that one.
Succeeded. I've got 2 2s
and the rest are successes.
Yeah, the rest are successes.
Yeah, continue. You're cool as a cucumber.
Well, I mean, it takes a bit, but I think I let the formality of the moment take over, and I go, "You shouldn't be here."
I came here on a matter of grave importance to the world. I didn't come here for trifling matters about family history.
And you didn't come here to bring my horse back?
I kind of just look like Trump.
My horse?
Yeah. That's just what I said to get in here. But I'm trying to think about I'm not going to just break into the song, I don't think. But how would I try to convince you to... well, first, I guess I'll ask you if you know about any of the matters that are going on in the moral realm.
Of course I do.
So then you know about...
No, the Karsk Val, the orc barbarians, for somehow are infiltrating our borders and causing a great disturbance. And quite honestly, and start losing composure a little bit, our father really could care less about defending the lives of the elves that ultimately need to be sacrificed.
I say those orcs are here because of a mad wizard. How do you think they got here? Whether this is true or not, we'll decide later in the fiction, because I am also a deceiver. But, I basically explained that, this mad wizard who was a king named Valcor, taught the orcs how to get here. But the orcs are a minor concern compared to him.
I don't know why you could say they're a minor concern. Elven blood is being shed in the name of these conflicts.
The world itself is being destroyed by this mad king.
The earth is the Elven kingdom. I don't know why you are even worried about all the lesser races that are out there. And here you're speaking of a wizard, like there is such a thing that would be such a threat to us. I mean, how would we not know about something?
Because you never leave your kingdom, brother. How would you know what's going on outside your world? I've seen all of it. I've walked in the mud.
You see a pair of boots in the corner.
Yeah, literally walked in the mud. Yeah.
I gotta look around at all the dirt and everything. Went through my wardrobe, got everything like dirty, and like tossed it on the ground to pull the nicest silks out.
So how would the Rhyme of the Unraveler work? Is it just like a skill check thing?
Yeah, it's just a skill check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it's like an extended thing. So I'm going to try to convey to you through song the sorrows of the world and the deceit of the Elven Kingdom.
This is great because I mean this turns out to be a musical and it's wet.
Yeah.
So can I aid him in singing?
Well, I think I would assume you're trying to oppose me, but I mean I could be wrong.
No, I mean he could. So that's a good question. He could actually try to help, and it could be sort of an inadvertent help if you had something appropriate. You obviously could oppose.
No, but I think the fact that you paired this with what I think is the threat of the orcs. I mean,
right.
I think I'm inclined then to believe you.
Right.
Right.
Also, if there's no conflict, you don't have to make a roll. It could just be that you hear the song, you convey the song, you believe and see the truth. Now, if you feel there's any resistance in you, then you can resist and help. It has a difference.
No, because I don't think the conflict is in
Sorrow of truth.
Yeah.
sorrow.
So it's still a song.
I'm skeptical. I want you to roll on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a song.
Also, I think the implications of the sorrow of truth are actually a little more dire.
They are.
Even though what you're saying is true. What can you read for us? What
the ob is 10 minus the target's grief.
So 4.
This mournful song speaks of leaving sorrow behind, putting it to sleep and waking a new fire within, a flame of spite. Elves who are confronted with a song, if it's successfully sung, may choose to change their grief to spite. Their eyes are open to this new truth.
What if they don't? It
doesn't say.
Oh, okay. So it's not mind control. You do get to choose, but in the fiction, it's like you're seeing the world through your sibling's eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and the conflict is the implications of it being true.
Yeah.
Is that now in order for me to protect the realm, I'm going to have to do potentially what you did.
Right.
And the spite is really for Cithriel and to some extent our father in that they're not gonna we already know
that's the lie of the
they're not going to go along with it.
Now I do like the idea of this scene being this interesting elven duet, right? That being the meeting of the dirge and the lament. Right, it's the elves sing laments, and dark elves sing dirges, and you basically singing at one another if you want to help with a singing die.
Yeah, I do, but my help is, but Cithriel is not going to believe this, and our father is not going to want us to, to address.
Which is why I've come to you,
and we're not going to have any support.
Which is more saddening. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, all right, this is interesting. This is great. The turn of your brother into a dark elf.
1 success, 2 success, 3 success, 4 success.
4 successes. All right. So you have a choice in front of you.
And one of them was a 6, so I could technically re-roll it, right? Because the song.
Because it's a song. Do you want to re-roll it?
Yeah, sure. 5. So 5 successes.
5 successes. So you have a choice here, right? Really interesting choice. You're an elf. You're an elf through and through. You have been here your entire life. You walk, talk, and breathe the Citadel. Your brother comes and conveys to you this existential threat. This threat to your borders. This threat to humanity. This threat, like, conveys to you the sadness of lives and children and villages being burned, and probably much like that scene. Remember that scene of like the foretelling of the Shire burning? I think that that's probably what the song conveys. It's like you've seen what the orcs can do already and unleash upon the elven kingdoms these monstrosities that they put together, much like the lion and Brotherhood of the Wolf, like these boar that have armor sutured to them and, and iron tusks and shodden hooves, and set them loose upon elven villages. And you see the spread of this darkness. You see the edges of the elven kingdom starting to sort of wither away and lose its color and its vibrancy. Do you turn to the path of spite?
So elves are imperiled and are going to die if we do nothing. Honestly, I'm inclined to keep my grief over this.
Right.
And I still have an imperative to address this.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm turning to spite.
I need you to make an OB7 grief test.
Okay.
Otherwise, what's going to happen is your grief's going to increase. So while you made the decision,
I think I was even going to ask, can my grief increase?
Yeah, so go ahead and make a OB7 grief test. Your grief is 6. You're just rolling 6 dice.
Right. So there's no way I can succeed.
There is, and I'll explain. Go ahead and roll if you get anything close. You rolled really well, so
yeah, this
has been working out pretty well. All right, so
6 dice.
6 of my grief dice here in song. 2 successes, a 5 and a 6.
Yeah,
2 1s.
Yeah, you need 7. You're not gonna get to 7.
What's my grief go to?
Your grief goes to 8.
I think that's pretty appropriate, though. I'm going to think, having seen this.
You have to make a choice. You choose to either wither and die, you choose to go to the west, or you choose to walk the path of spite. Those are your 2 choices.
Jeez. All right, stop singing the song.
Yeah. I was going to say, if I failed that role, it's to say that you might have been able to convince me to stay here and give up the, And
how do we see your grief? How do you're overwhelmed by the pure evil that your brother, your sibling has conveyed to you? What do we see? How do you convey your grief?
I think I lose it. I mean, I lose composure.
Sure.
And stumble back a little bit. My sword falls out of my hand and drops to the ground.
Honestly, I think we end that there. I think we end the scene there with like you just dropping
the sword.
We've seen you carrying it around, and so on and so forth, opening fucking doors with it, so on and so forth. You part the curtains to your room.
Yeah. My sibling knows 125 years ago that I don't put
never.
Yeah, like that's surprise to him.
That's fantastic. That's beautiful. That's great. Okay, so you are on the road. Now is the question of leave to face the bigger threat and leave a threat behind you, or do you try to hunt the orcs?
I'm going to have a conversation with my sibling about this. So if you're saying that the orcs are, being directed by this wizard, then wouldn't it make sense for us to track down the orcs and find the place where they, where they're interacting with this wizard?
If it would help assuage your conscience, we could start there. But for all intents and purposes, we have to eventually.
I think it's safe to say that even after all of these years, you probably trust your brother.
Right.
Like, if your brother says he's going to do this, he's going to do this. Probably maybe to a fault.
Like acquiescing.
Yeah.
Plus, the only other way out is the way you came. And you might not be all that, excited about going back through the dwarven cavern.
Do you try to bring help, or are you going to go to yourselves?
I suggest we bring help if we can.
I think Amor would try it and bring allies. Yeah.
And do you want to try to do that behind Cithriel's back or through Cithriel?
Definitely sit behind Cithriel.
All right.
back.
So you're going to try to gather some of the sword singers to escort you.
And I'm also going to prepare a note.
Okay.
For my father.
Missive, sure. So
I'm not going to send it to him until we are away. Well, I'm not going to assume that. I'm going to say we're going to the borders of the land. But anyway, just to...
So here's my suggestion. I think you probably find a minstrel and convey the message to the minstrel, and the minstrel's job is to then craft a song.
It had to be in a song, yeah.
To craft a song to deliver this, and then you hiring it's a court minstrel, so that they're gonna do whatever you say, and you could just say, "Come tonight," like tell them when to deliver the message. Kind of idea.
You're gonna wait a little while.
Yeah, sure. So where do you find your other
wait till the
sword
full moon.
Right. Where do you find your other sword singers?
These are going to be the sword singers that I work with in the regular.
Gotcha. So are you going to like the barracks, or they're like
these are the protectors of the realm? And since I've been since
protectorate's barracks.
Yeah, since I was a protector, I imagine there are groups or platoons or even individuals that I know I can trust. Right. Like I'm not just going to go out and ask strangers. These are all elves that I know.
Sure. Sure.
I'm pretty confident.
So you're going to gather your old war buddies.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's a smaller group than if I tried to go to a battalion and be like, I'm commanding you to come with me. It's not like that. It's like, hey, we're doing something. It's a little iffy, but you trust me, right? Like, let's do it.
So this is a perfect point to use circles. So circles is a means to bring NPCs into the fold, into the fiction, right? Mm-hmm. You're establishing that you've known them. You're going to get a crap ton of dice because of who you are. It's appropriate. So you have said something that is a critical component to circles, which is you generally can only safely circle people that shared same life path as you. And because you're a sword singer, going to get a couple sword singers from the protectorate
makes sense.
Is totally within your bailiwick and your normal circles. Now, your circles is pretty high, isn't it? You're of a 5.
Yeah.
You have a 5 circles, and you also have an affiliation with the Swords of the White Towers, which is going to give you another one. And you're also going to get an additional one because you have a reputation as a champion. Totally appropriate. Right? So you are rolling 7 dice for this. Okay, now, the ob. Now, I haven't memorized these charts. I'm not going to go and dig in. There are very specific obs. And those specific obs have to do with do you need them here and now? Right? How pressing is this? How competent do you want them to be? Right? How much aligned to what you want to do you want to see them? So, part of the questions here end up being, is this pressing for you? Do you feel like you need to do this quickly? I feel like there's a timetable at hand, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to increase your...
I'm asking them to come meet me. I'm thinking maybe my large country manor, if it makes sense in terms of the location.
Sure. But hold on. But you have to bring them into the fiction first. Okay? So it's pressing. It's called here and now. Right? So it increases the ob. How competent do you want? First off, they're sword singers. So we're going to give it a 3 ob just to start with. Yes, you know them, but you want these guys to be really good. Right? Do you want to make them elite troops, or is the 3 good enough that these are sort of like their sword singers are really good, but they're sort of the run-of-the-mill sword singers?
Yeah, I mean, because I think most of the really good ones are probably under Cithriel's, direct.
Right, probably cherry picks the kings.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms
Etharch,
of skill set. So these are the protectorates.
Sure.
So
right now you're in
pure heart, but maybe not.
Right now you're in an Ob 4. That's really the only things you need out of this. They're part of your normal group. You're in an area that all of your stuff works. So you're going to roll 7 dice. You're getting an Ob 4. So if you look at circles, that's going to be a routine test.
All right, here we go. Ob 4, 7 dice. Oh, I only got 2.
Yeah. 2 successes. All right. So 2 successes is good enough to decide whether or not you're going to spend a fate. You guys have been working towards your beliefs. If this was a campaign, you'd probably have some fate. Mm-hmm. Fate is sort of a reward system that you got for acting through your beliefs. Let's assume you have a fate.
You can spend it,
right?
Yeah.
You could spend the fate to open up that 6 and roll an additional die. And if you roll another 6, it automatically rolls again. So that's why this is close enough. I didn't bother when it was 2 out of 7, right?
Yeah.
But this is close enough that you conceivably could do it, but you would be using it. Now, let me explain another piece of the equation that is important to me, because I'm crazy. There is a thing in this game called shade, right? And shade, you can absolutely see through the manifestation of Gandalf. Gandalf starts the game as Gandalf the Grey, and he becomes Gandalf the White, right? He takes a new form. He becomes more heroic, right? You can assume at some point in time he was Gandalf the Black, right? Which to some degree is what Sauron's going through in the Rings of Power. Mm-hmm. Right? Where he's landed in Rings of Power, he's pretty mundane. He has wizard powers, but he's pretty mundane, right? Well, everything in the game has that ability as well, where you have black shade things. All of your skills are black shade, right? All your weapons are black shade. The mithril that you're going to get may be gray shade mithril, right? If you steal that. And there's ways that things can become heroic and then legendary, right? And the difference between those is right now, black shade means you're rolling 4s or better, gray shade or 3s or better, and then white shade is 2s or better.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Spending Arda on skills gives you the opportunity to change the shade of those skills. It takes a long time, don't get me wrong, but using, putting this into circles is actually a pretty interesting thing, because sometimes you want to really focus on what you might want to gray shade your sword skill, right? So you might be I'm not going to do it for circles. I'm going to take the enmity clause and move forward, and because I want to put this into sword, right? But it is something you want to spend because it's how you sort of supernaturally level, Yeah. So do you want to spend a feat to possibly get to 4?
Yeah, and probably not, because I think it's because the next roll has to be a 6 for me.
The next roll has to be a 6.
Yeah, I think just the odds are against me. I'm going to save that for when I've got.
So what happens is you do as you suggest. You go there. You meet some of your old compatriots. They're there's orcs, kind of idea. And they're yeah, we've been following some of their movements. We have some riders that, are doing that. Then maybe you should let us handle this.
Yeah, I appreciate, the desire to be protective of me. But honestly, we're better in greater numbers. But I understand your hesitancy to, countermand your current mission.
Right. What are your instincts?
Not really over here. Always have an escape plan and never get lost in the woods at night is the one we had.
And yours are never drop your sword and announce yourself.
Always announce myself to friends.
That's good. Just checking.
Yeah.
All right. So they're like, well, what do you want us to do?
Well, I'm asking that you come with us to the border of the realm, because I've become aware of a greater threat among the orcs, and it's something that I need only those that I can trust to come.
We're happy to help you, but we can't just go without leave.
Abandon your post. Oh no, of course.
We'll take it up the ranks and meet you at your manor.
Yeah, that's where we'll be assembling, but we're leaving soon, so don't
dally.
There's no time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think how this works is, unless you say otherwise, I feel like they don't show.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they feel bad, and quite honestly, they probably gain grief because of it. But Cythriel tells them on no, certain terms. He's going to send riders. He's going to send 4 lancers instead.
Oh, okay.
Like,
They're like a lesser,
yeah. Instead of these 3 sword singers coming, you hear hoofbeat.
He recognizes a duty that there's
a prince is involved, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to be like, no, you can't help the prince of the kingdom.
Right. He's imagining having to go. Wait, you knew they were going, and you just let them go anyway? And you didn't do anything. He's got to do something.
So he sends the riders. One of the riders, who you know.
So these are soldiers, not sword singers.
Yep, whose name is Lashid. And Lashid has been tracking their movements. Lashid's a little curt and is annoyed because they were sensibly pulled off of duty.
Mm-hmm.
They had a falconer with them. They're all on steeds. They all have lances. And at the ends of their lances, they have your father's livery. But it's clear by reading the livery that they are part of the protectorate and not part, of the king's, the Etharch's
right
stars, who really should be the ones here protecting the prince.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But you're avoiding that. The captain's avoiding that. Kind of idea.
Once again, this might have worked out because they may have better lay of the land in the forest.
So she is courteous, but short with you, and does not get off her horse.
I think I'm the only one without a horse.
I'm riding a horse.
I don't think you.
No, I think you had your own horse.
You probably have a replacement horse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not your you probably
For 120 years, you're like, oh, it sucks. I don't have a horse.
So my large country manor has a stable.
Okay. Right. No, remember, we already established the orcs burned it down. Yeah, I said that the orcs burned down your stable.
Oh.
It's one of the
Those bastards.
Yeah. I
don't know why I didn't register. That's pretty upsetting. All right. Well, hopefully some of the horses escaped.
Well, you could ask. No, you don't have a horse. You totally can ask one of them for their horse.
Yeah, right.
It's going to put them in a very weird position. You can do that?
No.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. So, did you bring Prodigal?
You can ride with me.
Yeah.
I smell okay now.
I think I'm gonna give orders at this point and say, we're leaving on the cover of night, actually, and we're heading out tonight.
They have an advantage in the darkness, but not in elven skies. Elven skies are much brighter, and you know this. It's nighttime, and it's like almost day to you. You're just like, fuck. And like the stars are brighter, the moon is brighter, everything's like, all right, whatever, just so you're aware, we actually have an advantage when the sun is up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to gain advantage over the orcs right now.
Okay.
I'm not telling them this, but
Well, you don't have to tell me that.
I don't-
What's
yeah.
your reaction when they say you would be at an advantage when the sun is up?
we would when we're facing the orcs.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. When we get there. Yeah.
But you
we're,
want to go at night?
we're traveling at night. Yeah.
Okay, fine. I know where they are. I can bring you to them.
Well, we want to go to where they're entering our lands.
I don't know where. I just know where they're camping now.
All right. Well, then that's where we gotta go. And we find out where they're entering our lands.
They obviously walk slowly, like trot their horses slowly. One of them probably walks the horse, kind of idea, since you're on foot. And I mean, they're deferential to you in terms of you're a prince. You've commanded them before, maybe not them, but one of them, kind of idea. They're not certain who you are necessarily, because you didn't really
I won't announce
spend
myself.
time in the protector, but are you still wearing fancy
I was
clothes?
gonna say,
yeah,
still wearing my
yeah.
pajamas.
Definitely.
That's great.
I'm trying to,
You got like a nice doublet,
Yeah.
that kind of deal. Awesome.
probably stole whatever I could get my hands on before we left. So
Sure. So we're not going to do a full fight mechanic, but how are you approaching this? What do you want out of this scene? What are you trying to accomplish?
I guess since we don't know the direction that they're traveling, I think to some extent we
I'm
need
gonna
to
track
figure
them. Yeah, like
we need
Follow
to track
them
their
and figure out how they're coming
we need to
and
track
going.
their comings and going.
Yeah.
Your gestures will definitely convey to you that they are sowing chaos in the elfin lands. They're not going in and out.
So no one's joined them ever. They're just this one group of orcs.
It's just one small group of orcs. I've identified their leader, but
Then we want to get our hands on him, I suppose. Yeah.
We're gonna have to ask them. Yeah, I mean, if they're not resupplying from anywhere or
Right.
leaving our lands, in between raids,
one of the
I'm a
riders,
little bit upset that they're not already destroyed.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
one of the riders is pretty old, gnarled veteran, as gnarled as elves get. He's got wrinkled. He has a silver scar across his face, which he like abdicated elven healing
Right.
to get, like this.
This is a lesson.
He is the only one who has fought orcs before. It says these are filthy goblins riding wargs. So be wary. They have with them a pack of boar that they let loose upon settlements.
Okay, it's getting better and better. Wargs and boars.
Mm-hmm. Still surprised the elves haven't managed to purge them already, but
We've been tracking. I was very close to getting orders to be able to engage before I was called away.
And imagine that,
that's what we're doing.
they're like whack-a-mole. You destroy one raiding group and then another one shows up.
Captain has been as pleased of this has fallen on deaf ears.
Mm-hmm. That's something to look into when I get back. But again, whose ears? I relay to you, our father's not even taking any kind of military
That's
advice.
what I'm saying about the elven kingdom.
It's taking
corrupt.
Don't start singing. So the choices here, just to move it along, right, is you can claim stakes. Like, what do you want from this conflict? Do you want to drive them off and then follow them? Do you want to capture them and interrogate them? Do you want to just kill them and see what happens?
I want to definitely interrogate the leader and find out how they're getting in and out. But
Okay.
I don't want a long, exuberant, or deeply entailed plan. I just want a general approach, how you like to accomplish this task of capturing the leader.
I say they ambushed them at a point where they'd be.
They are traveling because it's nighttime.
Right. Yeah.
If you're approaching them at night, they are mobile. They're nocturnal creatures.
Right. Yeah, and then I think I don't know that we necessarily. Well, the leader's fine, but then we have to quickly dispatch the rest of the orcs, and hopefully then the wargs and the boars lose their handlers. I think that's our best bet, is to kind of quickly dispatch the...
Because you could also, wait until they dispatch, wait till they let the boars go, to, go somewhere, and then...
We track them a little bit and try to find, wait for our moment while we're tracking them, that's a good spot to get them, or, they're going into a place where it's choked, so they don't have much...
Especially since we get cavalry, too.
Right.
So they're on wargs, so...
Yeah.
Hopefully we can take out a couple of them on lances.
So I want to point out that in your sword, you do have something called the Sunblade. And that seems like it would be a cool thing to try to enact through your sword, a Song of the Sword.
Okay.
Now, the lesser things you can do, but because orcs are disadvantaged through sunlight.
Yeah, it'd be great.
But the other thing it does is if it's it's the highest ob, right? But the other thing it does is make your weapon one length longer.
Oh, okay.
So you basically can wield your sword like a lance and keep them at bay.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay? You guys are not necessarily stealthy, so I don't think you're gonna surprise them, but other than you, but I'm gonna say that both groups probably see each other about the same time. They are going to get, unless you guys spend the time to loose arrows, the Lancers are not going to loose arrows. They're going to wait for your command to charge. But the two of you have bows. You could do that. Yeah. But if you do that, then you can't do the song. The song is going to take enough time where you're then going to have to sing it as you're running forward.
Yeah, you can do the song and I'll do cover.
I wasn't planning on
But you may be receiving some bow shot, just so you're aware. So, but you want to shoot bows.
Basically, give covering fire. Yeah.
Sounds good. So the two of you are going to do two separate actions. Are you going to start singing and then tell them to charge? Do you want them to charge while you're going? What do you want?
I mean, I'll have them charge, and then I will follow them on foot and take on singing the song.
Right.
And then...
Sounds good. So you're going to make an Ob 8 Song of the Sword test. Now, remember that you can fork other things in, right? Including sing. You're going to make a bow test. Do you have hunting?
No.
Okay. I don't think you have any skills that would...
Got survival and scavenging, but I don't.
Yeah, neither. They're not going to help. So it's just a straight up bow test. What do you want to bring in? You could bring in sing. That's going to bring your sword skill to what?
5. Oh, sword skill?
No, your
Song of Swords. It'll bring it to 5.
5. Anything else you want to bring in? No, this is already an open-ended roll. And I want to point out that this is going to give you a challenging test unless you get enough dice up to 8, and then it would be a difficult test.
I mean, how many other things can I wedge in here? I have my sword.
I don't think,
and I'm commanding the soldiers.
Yeah, but I don't. This is to enchant your blade. Is what this song is for. That's what's going on. You're just trying to enchant your blade.
Yeah, Elven script. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're gonna roll 6 dice. 1 6. A 4. A 4.
No, just 2 4s and a 6.
2 4s and a 6. Only 3 successes. Now re-roll another die, a different die. 4. So you have 4 successes. You're not able to summon the sun. Your song is a little shaky. It's been a little while since you've been on the field. They charge ahead. Mm-hmm. It's going to take you a little time, right? This sort of makes you hesitate a little bit to be like, it's nighttime, maybe the orcs have done something.
Can I ask a system question here?
Yeah.
Why would I even attempt that?
Again, to give yourself a challenging role for advancing that song, because you need...
That's the only way you can advance it.
You need a challenging role. I think you might need 2 challenging roles in order. So in the game, you have to fail to learn, right? So you have to make these certain roles. You have to do a bunch of routines. In fact, you might be at a level where you don't even need routines anymore, that it's just difficult and challenging.
Okay.
So you really have to do these really tough things. Also, if you wanted to use other Ardo, like Fate and Persona, and also because it does explode. So if you roll 2 or 3 6s, then conceivably they could...
Yeah, but statistically, that's not likely.
Not likely.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
You got 1 success.
You got 1 success. All right. So now what you're going to do is roll a d6. It's called a Die of Fate.
Okay.
You're trying to get high.
5.
A 5 is you skewer one of the goblins.
Nice.
One of the Night Seekers, reels around, the warg snarls, and you literally take him off of his warg. Go ahead and make a command check for me, to sort of rally the troops and get them to be a cohesive group. Get them to do what you need them to do. What are your orders for them?
Really, it's a charge. I mean, this is a short.
Are they taking out any particular targets? Are they
the orcs themselves that are the riders that are on work back, charge through and circle back around.
Okay, sounds good.
2 successes.
2 successes.
Oh no, I got a 4. This is a success too. I got 3 successes.
Oh wow, 3 successes. Yeah, they do pretty well. I'm assuming since you did pretty well, I'm assuming you're asking them to not target the leader.
Honestly, I'm not that worried about that, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they know who's who.
Well, she told you that she knows who she's been able to identify the leader.
Okay.
But do you want them to soften them up? Kind of idea?
Yeah.
Sure. Sounds good. I think that 2 of them, you kill another one, they kill another one. You probably unhorse or unwarg one, and then one starts to run. One's bolted. And this is even before you get there. So one's now on the ground and fighting. 2 are dead.
Got it. Follow them into the fray here.
Okay. What are you going to do with the one that's on the ground?
That one's fighting?
Yes. He's basically trying to get his footing by the time you get there.
All right. Well, that's the one I'll go at, I guess.
Okay. What do you want to do?
Yeah. Let's
attack, defend, great blow. If you want to.
I haven't been able to. I wasn't able to complete the Song of Sword.
No.
So just got my regular brother sword with me. So brother blade, and the one on the ground is not the leader, as far as I know.
Roll a die fate. 1, 2, 3, yes.
2.
Yep. The one on the ground's leader.
Let's see, how do I take him out without taking him out? He doesn't need his legs.
That is a danger of brain wheel.
All right, I'm going to wound his legs so he can't run away like his. Cowardly.
If you kill the leader, because then we have to go out into the world outside, because otherwise we're not going to find out how they're getting in.
Yeah.
Either way, I win.
Go ahead and make a sword check. What are you doing?
You said there's one that's running away.
Yes, on his.
I'm gonna try to take him down with my bow.
Go for it. Go ahead and roll. You're going to be an odd 3 because he's running away from you and trying to be evasive. Okay.
I got a 6, a 5, and a 1. I can't roll a 6s, right?
You can if you spend fate.
After all, why shouldn't I? 4. So that's still
Success,
success, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many success do you get? 3?
Yeah.
So, yep, that's exactly what you
Right.
needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was worth it for the pain.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, my sword
and then
strike.
roll a die of fate.
Okay. 2 this time.
So you do an incidental. It sort of nicks him as you're going. He gains a little bit more distance.
So what?
Your Ob is going to be. He's on the ground with you. It's going to be 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, all successes.
Oh wow!
Damn.
So 6 successes.
6 successes.
So this is what happens. You remove 3, right? And that's your eye, right? You could see the eye under your sword.
Oh, over here. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you spend 2 more dice, it goes to M.
What do you mean spend more dice?
You spend successes, right? You have an add of 2.
Oh, yeah.
So you spend 2 successes to push that to a median hit.
Oh, yeah.
And the 3 is you targeted his way.
Well, why would that not happen automatically? Like,
You started incidental, and then you have to spend successes to increase your damage.
yeah, but why would I not spend the successes?
You could continually spend them to do other things.
Oh, okay.
But in this case, you're just damaging them. So how much damage did you do with that hit?
Medium a 7.
A 7. Nice.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you literally cleave his leg off.
That's what I was looking to do.
He's not running anywhere. You would have to chase. He's getting into your far range, your extreme range. You'd have to sort of like the horse is faster than awards.
Right.
But you'd have to like take chase.
Let him go.
You let him go. Sounds good.
Get the leader now.
All right. You have the leader. The others are dead. What do you do? One last scene before we wrap up for the.
I'm gonna bind his leg so he doesn't bleed to death. Tie it up.
Do you have field dressing or
good question.
Like that?
I have mending. I see a table leg. No.
Okay.
But I'm just basically trying to tie it off so he doesn't
Tourniquet.
Yeah, tourniquet. Sure.
Good news is that his defenses are lowered because of the severe wound that you've given him. The bad news is that there are possibilities he could pass out and so on and so forth. He has probably failed his steel test, and is yowling, and it takes some time for you all to basically stand around him and one of the destriers is holding.
And all the work to have taken off?
I think followed the running one. I think once their riders were so easily dispatched, they looked towards.
They were the smart ones.
Yeah, they looked towards each other and then just decided to bolt.
I mean, the riders came back with their lances too, so they probably just were like, "Yeah, I'm not going to
disappear into the
face this big pointy thing."
Right.
I could ask him, try to get out of them where they're coming into our lands.
Sure. You have interrogation? So we're going to learn one more rule, and that is beginner's luck. Beginner's luck allows you to start learning skills you don't know. You all are not used to interrogating people, but this is clearly an interrogation task.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're going to do is one of you, who wants to be the interrogator?
I think that's me.
Okay. What is your will?
4, I think? Yeah, 4.
Your will is 4. So you're going to roll 4 dice, and it's going to double the right? The obstacle. Now, good for you that the obstacle, his will is much lower because he has a major wound. Right? So he's dealing with -3 dice right now. So normally your ob would probably be 4, and that basically goes down to an ob of 1. Right? But it's doubled because of beginner's luck. So you have a 4 dice and an ob of 2.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead.
Good chances.
I do too, but I didn't make it.
Oh man.
No successes?
No, 3, 2, 3, 1.
Oh my god.
3, 1. Yeah. All right. You could. You don't have any traits, any call-on traits that can help you, right?
In this situation,
I don't think so.
Traits.
yeah, deceptive. I mean, spite is considered a trait, right? But I don't know.
Patience.
No, it's a character trait.
Yeah.
You just gotta sort of play that.
Yeah.
All right. I think he passes out. I think that's the problem. Is like, you decide to like press into his wound to tell you.
Like, talk to me. She's like, oh. Yeah.
He spits at you and collapses. All right. That is Burning Wheel.
Yeah. I was thinking if we continue this as a campaign, it would be a funny thing that, like, either alternative of I'm telling the truth and the wizard really is how they're getting information to get in, but also, like, if I lead you out of the kingdom and make it, like, through several adventures of that, and then you find out that, like, I was lying to you and that...
Yeah. The orcs have nothing to do.
No connection. Yeah.
You just knew that would get me out of the Citadel.
Yeah.
Right. The really fun thing is, perspective-wise, is how I would generally say that is we don't answer that question until it's important.
Right.
That could be an interesting trust measure between the two of you, where you have to roll to determine whether or not you were lying or not,
right.
Which would be fun, right? So it's, even though your character knows whether or not they're lying, the audience doesn't know, you don't know that they're lying until it happens.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned before the elven character that I had, that I left their gender ambiguous. They were very...
But this character same way. Like your sibling.
Your sibling,
right.
You're right. But it came down to a role where one of the characters decided that he was very into my character and decided, well, my identity is not necessarily, to be into other dudes. So I'm going to roll to dictate as part of the narrative that this is a girl. And failed. He's like, well, I guess I dig dudes, or at least elven dudes.
This is an NPC.
No, this is my PC.
Okay,
this is my.
You were in on it. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't. I was willing to not define that until it came up in narrative. Yeah. And this was a very relationship-y kind of crew, right? Yeah. So that stuff is really. But I was just like proto-elf. Yeah. Like I was just like. Just born kind of out of, fully...
So you're 400 years old.
Okay. But I think this has a different weight. Like, imagine this in a cartoon or live action where, and I've always been saying the prodigal son. It's like you got two sons, whatever, and one of them goes out and the other one, stays behind. And you're like, oh, that's a trope or whatever. That's a story that I understand.
Right.
But it's like, no, now you got the prince who's the favorite prince. And then the female princess has a baby and gets shunned. I mean, like, because of that just makes the entire Citadel like, on the bad side, and and anybody else that goes along with it, it's got a different weight to it. You know what I mean?
So, what do you think of Burning Wheel?
I enjoy it. Like I said, there's little things about that I find frustrating sometimes, but. It's a great system in terms of just like the way that it kind of drives you towards things,
I mean, two things. The complexity of setting up the characters on the one hand, again, reminds me of D&D. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And just the fact that like, like some of the other games that we've played, it's pretty straightforward to pick up the character build, that we've done in real time and go with it. But here it took some concerted effort to get to that point.
And some of that process is opaque, right? Some of it's like, oh, okay. I have this. What does this circles mean?
But, we made our characters in some of those other ones where we all sort of just figured it out in the same time. Like, just like D&D, like, unless you've got somebody who's experienced in this, you're gonna have a hard time getting through that hymnal.
I love the life path system of creating characters. I think that's great. It's something I feel is lacking in a lot of other systems when you're creating a character, where you could have this long backstory or no backstory. It doesn't matter. Right?
It doesn't.
You know, like I have a first level character, here's my 30-page backstory. Or, you know,
And we literally write those 30-page backstories.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You do.
For sure.
I do.
For sure.
But, it's like, but then it's hard to convey. Like, there are some groups that really struggle. Like, if you think about the idea of like the simulation here, if you want to simulate a veteran character, you can make a veteran character.
And they have that experience and the things that are tied into that experience. So
right. And if the group says, oh yeah, you can have 4 life, 5 life paths, and we only have 3, right? That's fine. There's no piece of the equation that says you can't do that.
Right.
Where if you do something in a lot of systems, you could say that's the case, but you're still a first level character.
Right, it's just kind of handwave.
Now, granted, that could be sort of akin to the idea of like, well, I'm going in on 5th level, everybody else is 3rd. But really, that tracks very differently.
Yeah, it does.
You know, than I think something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. But again, and then the beliefs and instincts and kind of having that guidance for the narrative, understanding that's going to play a part in the story leading into it is also, just a really great way of giving your characters direction. You're not figuring out as you go along,
And one thing that we did not really deal with to some degree is resolution. Or giving up. Like, resolution can be failure, and you're like, I'm just going to abandon that.
Yes.
If you all have decided, no, approaching the real threat and then letting the army deal with the orcs, right? That's you resolving that and abandoning that, like...
Yeah. Well, even if I had taken on the spite and started down the path of a dark elf, like that, my belief in defending the house...
Now, defeating the mad wizard becomes more important than defending the realm. Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I love systems that bring beliefs and so on into it. Sometimes I struggle a little bit with how specifically they want the wording to be. That tends to tie me up a little bit, but the actual system I love.
I push at that stuff really hard. I know some people don't and allow it to be kind of wishy-washy.
But the books do too. I mean, the way it's written.
I think so. And I think also the key element here is that the adventure is developed completely off of beliefs, right? Or your bits.
Yeah.
In order to do that, I feel like you have to create very clear instructions for your GM, right? And there's a lot of people who argue with me about this, that like, well, GMs could still have a lot of leeway. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You run your game as you want to. I think that having beliefs tell the GM the kind of game that you as players want to play is really powerful.
And I like the fact that you're able to bring it in, because it's been the case in a lot of other games I've played where it's like I have this thing about my character I want to bring in, but I don't want to take over the narrative. I want to be like, this is what we're doing. We're going to follow my character's personal
arc. Says do it.
Right. Yeah, it becomes part of the group arc, in a way.
And obviously that session 0 helps you accomplish that, right? You guys can talk about that together. But there are a lot of times where, like, you guys were a little bit cross purposes. You wanted to go to Wizard, you wanted to go to the Orcs. You were like, all right, if my brother says that I'm going to go to the Wizard later on, in fact, I think that was your long-term goal, right? Yeah. So since that was your long-term goal, it'd be like, well, getting my brother on board is a step towards the long-term goal of getting to the Wizard. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. I can abdicate for this. I still get fate.
Right. I tried to do it to my character, actually waiting until my character got the information that your motivation was to go after the orcs, and I was like, oh, okay, so
this is how I do
the same thing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, and then you get a persona, right? Which is like a little bit better than a fate, different but better. You get a persona because you resolve the hunting down the orcs.
Yeah. And not a drop of elven blood was spilled.
And not a drop of elven blood. You guys did it pretty, these are goblins versus elves, but,
Right. Yeah. Well, the one thing I do want to talk about is the combat system.
Sure.
Because I think, even as you were describing it to me, I became pretty aware of the detail and I think how it's realistic, but how multifaceted it can be. And I think it's not something I've talked a lot about yet. And when we talk about fantasy and maybe some of the downsides of D&D, but we've talked about this as a group, is how long it takes to resolve a combat situation, almost to the point where, like, if this was a D&D session, we came across a group of goblins, it'd be like, oh shoot, well, here we're gonna spend the next 3 hours with the foregone conclusion that we're going to vanquish these goblins, and and we're just going to be hacking away at hit die. I think the way that this is laid out, I think it allows for some of that resolution on the combat a lot faster, right?
We need to accelerate the combat a little bit, I think, with
a little bit. However, a couple things are involved there. First off, you do a lot of damage with that sword. I didn't roll armor. I could have, but you're again. If you were facing your brother, you just cut down your brother.
Yeah,
like you just be like done.
Yeah,
and especially since you sang an additional versus armor into the sword, so now you have versus armor 2, which basically just ignores anything that.
Yeah. Well, I was fighting this the goblin leader, and I hacked his leg off. He didn't have any armor on his leg.
Secondly,
the fleshy bits.
Missile weapons are very deadly because while there is some ability to move the die of fate, it's very random how much damage you do. The first time you did it, you skewered the damn thing.
Yeah.
The second time you did it, you just grazed them. It's very random. But because of that randomness, you only need one success to possibly kill somebody. And that makes... I'd like you to think about it. Like, I find this fascinating because in the conversation of like, how does system affect how you role play? How does system affect the story? Think about how you would interact with weapons that have a 1 in 3 chance of just murdering you. Right? So like, I feel like you would interact with those weapons very differently than you do in like a game that just has hit points and it's going to do 6 hit points to me.
Is there a way to like defend with a shield or anything like that against it, or is it just the D6?
You could conceivably like dodge, by and large, shields and act as extra armor. So there's still armor rolls that you get and things like that. So there are ways to mitigate it, but part of why it's a faster system is because people die. There's a very significant death spiral, right? Which of course is my favorite.
Yeah.
But like the ability for that goblin to in any way interact with you effectively, whether it be to try to stab you or even stay conscious, was pretty limited.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Granted, you hit very well, right? But that was just a medium hit.
Right.
You completely just lopped off his head.
Well, I also rolled all successes on that roll.
Right.
Too.
And by the way, if you had gotten one more success, your question was, well, why would I not spend the 2 points? You might not have wanted to do that much damage, right? If you gotten another success, would you have wanted to spend all 5 successes to get a 9 and just cut him in half?
Right.
And the answer is no, because you wanted him alive.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So
there are other moves.
It is a choice,
too, right?
Yeah.
There's other moves you could do too. Yeah, there's a couple pieces in there where you can like spend stuff. But this was a bloody versus. This was a very pared down. You had people helping you or on horseback. Mounted combat is very powerful in the game.
Especially when we're trained for it, which we were.
The balance here was they had more bows. I didn't roll the bow shots. I messed up that. Like, you should have had the threat of possibly charging into bow shot. You guys could have gotten some wounds from that and such. But by and large, that the balance is like lancers versus short bows, and like, okay, you get one engagement like that.
Right.
And then
you're close to it.
And then you're in it.
Yeah.
And I do like that. I mean, of course, there's definitely a lot of, kind of rules crunch with engaging with like all the weapons ranges and everything, but it is, I mean, speaking of realism, like that's one of the first things I ever noticed when I started using like weapons and like practice. It's such a difference whether you have a 3 foot or 4 foot or like what you're using, like that distance is, because like whenever you're within range of someone, they can reach you, like you can reach them and vice versa. Like it's that,
100%.
like you don't want to be in range except for when you're striking, and as quickly as possible get out of it.
I mean that on most sword masters will say like the big advantage to a sword is the reach.
Yeah.
Like there's other cutting edge and blocking and blah blah, but it's really the reach that puts a weapon ahead of even a knife. A weapon ahead of a not a weapon.
And also the between like a weapon that has the reach like a spear, but then like once you're past the reach, you're just dealing with the wood, or the sword, you got blade the whole way. So there's that too. But I don't know if they deal with that. It's the whole other level of complexity.
What are some of the pieces that you really liked engaging with that you thought was like, was there any moments to Burning Wheel? Was there pieces that you were like, wow, I would really dig that? Is there things that you're like, I kind of want to use this for my games?
I mean, like I said, the process of building the characters I loved. And I mean, I feel like there's definitely differences, but like I kind of had there's a lot of familiarity with it because there are pieces of Torchbearer like that I find throughout this, Right. So that made it, where it was more familiar than it might have been otherwise.
Right.
I would say I prefer this in terms of I don't feel as much like I'm kind of being. And there's a reason why Torchbearer does it this way, but still like where it's like, oh my God, we have to worry about the torch. Oh my God, we have to worry about the torch. We're like, I want to move towards the story. And it's like, how many? No, we're having a light. Oh God,
The grind is a whole other animal.
Right.
And it really does make it different.
Yeah.
Some point in time we'll play, Mouse Guard. And Mouse Guard has a whole other element to it. But Torchbearer is definitely, okay, we're going in, and do I want to make a roll?
And every action you make, you might get tired or angry or like sad or sleepy or whatever it is, like you're just like, oh God.
I'm not sure how you translate some of this stuff into other games though, too. I mean, I certainly would like the opportunity, but I'm looking at the sheets here and I'm like, I don't know how you would take parts and pieces because it all seems
nice pool system. I mean, I could see some like Powered by the Apocalypse sort of crossovers you could do a little bit, but it is definitely its own system for sure.
I think something that Burning Wheel is not necessarily missing, but maybe I insert into it is spending successes a little more. There's some of that in here,
right?
Ads, and there's especially spells and things. There's definitely opportunities, but I would want to push that a little further, and like you get extra successes, you can do all this cool stuff with it.
Yeah, and that's kind of like I mean, it's probably something I insert without even realizing it. But like whenever it's a die pool system, I assume that you can spend successes, But that's you're right. It's not
But other than that, I think the big thing I almost always bring over if I can is beliefs. I think it's actually critical for me as a GM and me as a player. It's critical to have some sort of goal system. And we were playing Ember. We were playing the new Foundry VTT RPG that company developed for Foundry.
Working on developing,
And very complex, really interesting. They have a very deep integrated culture and cosmology that feeds into your characters, which is great. But then they're like, oh yeah, jot somewhere where your goals are.
It's very much in the style of playing, obviously focus on playing like BTT for obvious reasons, but also like making it a little bit like a video game in some ways.
Right.
It's a whole style. We can talk about the new technology episode. We should definitely talk about that.
I just thought it was funny to be like, oh yeah, write your goals. It's like a side, thing instead of being front and
center. It being part of the system.
Yeah. We were talking about this today, and the idea of like using language to systemize story, right? And like we think of system as, and you're going to see this when it comes to My Life with Master to some degree and Dog from the Vineyard, but how powerful using language, just systematizing prompts, right? Which is something from like Dread that I use all the time. And the idea of like starting a session 0 with a number of prescribed prompts and how that actually affects the game. You know, that I still consider those things as system.
Sure.
You know, because if you don't have those things in there and you're bringing them in, then you're hacking the game. Or you're adding something, whatever verbiage you want to use, you know. And I think that beliefs and instincts do that. Yes, they have systemic pieces that they interact with and reward systems and so on and so forth. And I hope I described those enough to give you some sense of the main parts. Yeah. But how much I think just you guys were working towards your goals. And that's why it's so important that's a complex system to develop beliefs, but you start to understand how all that stuff starts moving together.
Yeah.
Well, please check out our Burning Wheel stream on Sundays at noon EST, where you get to see a lot of this stuff in action, especially fight. It's a monster hunting campaign, and it's all about fighting. It's all about the death.
And about character design.
All about character design. Cool.
You get to roll up more characters. Yeah. All right.
You have been listening to the Modern Mythology Podcast. Visit our website, modernmythology.net, for more episodes, articles on our blog ranging from gaming to media theory, links to our other podcasts, and more. Also check out James's ongoing mythic RPG and transmedia project, The Fallen Cycle, at fallencycle.com.